Hello to all our viewers. Today, I will address an interesting viewer's question about classical defense and defense in general. Here is the question: why is defense with only chops called classical defense? If a video is about defense, that means it is about chops. What about lobs and half-height lobs? Why are there so few videos about them? Why isn't this defense considered classical? End of the question. So, essentially, we have several questions gathered into one. Let's go through them one by one. Why is only defense with chops called classical defense? Well, that's how it happened. A long time ago, there was this style of defense, and it was named classical. In general, the classification of playing styles and variants of play was developed a long time ago, several decades ago, when there were no computers, no internet, and not even inverted rubbers. And letters were sent by pigeons. And since people are lazy, nothing has been revised since then. So, it turns out that the 22nd century is almost upon us, and few people defend only with chops. There are many diverse defensive styles now. But classical defense refers only to defense with chops. Other defensive styles, which differ from the classic, simply exist and thrive. People enjoy playing, tormenting attacking players with long pimples, but these styles are never really named. These styles exist outside the informational field. Although you often hear the term aggressive defense, this is a general term that many players use to refer to a mix of defense and attack. You could say that Ju Sae Hyuk and Ruwan Philus play in the style of aggressive defense. By the way, do you remember any famous players who played with classical defense? Write in the comments if you do. Next question. Why are there so few videos about lobs and lobs with lower height? Look at the situation with lobs. Lobs are the most demanding style of play in terms of the playing area. To defend with lobs, you need to step back from the table at a significant distance. Firstly, this requires space. Secondly, there should be no low ceiling or other obstacles that could interfere with the player's movement and the ball's flight. If you can't move far from the table, you can't execute proper lobs. Many halls do not provide the space needed for playing lobs. Unfortunately, many halls don't even allow for defense at all. There are many halls where you can only play close to the table and step back a little. But defending from the middle zone is only possible at a very low level when the ball is coming slowly. Not all halls have the length and width required to step far enough from the table to defend against powerful attacks and flat shots. Moreover, halls with a high ceiling and enough space for lobs are even rarer. That's why defenders who use chops or other techniques without high lobs are much more common. Simply put, there are few places where you can play with lobs. If you play in a hall where lobs can't be practiced, how can you learn this style? This leads to a funny situation: many players don't know how to play against lobs. Few players use them, and few players get the chance to play against them. It's very rare to have the opportunity to train against a defender using lobs or half-height lobs. So most players don't deal with them in training, only occasionally at competitions. And for them, it's an unexpected surprise, because their technique and tactical understanding of the game are faced with an unfamiliar situation. Most players don't have a trained attack against lobs and don't know how to play effectively against them to avoid losing to lobbing defenders. During a match, decisions must be made very quickly and implemented. It turns out that if a defender and attacker of the same level face off, and the defender suddenly starts alternating between defense with chops and lobs, the attacking player's effectiveness drops. They make mistakes, hesitate, lose their aggressive momentum, and give the defender more opportunities for a counterattack. Next question. If a video is about defense, it's about chops. What about lobs? It's very difficult to make a video about them. Because among amateur players, even Interpol wouldn't be able to find defenders using lobs. So there is no such videos. But we tried really hard, and we still managed to find a little. But even if there were many such videos, almost no one plays against lobs. That is why such videos are not in demand. As for half-height lobs, this style became more widespread with the introduction of 40-plus balls. With celluloid balls, there were very few players using this style, but now I see many more. This is due to the changes that occurred in table tennis after the introduction of 40-plus balls. The old type of ball spun much more, and defenders could generate significantly stronger backspin. That was enough to compete with attackers. Then, 40mm balls replaced the 38mm ones, and they spun less. Later, they were replaced by plastic balls, which spin even less. As a result, it became noticeably harder for defenders of all styles to defeat attackers. Also, attackers used to attack with much stronger spin. Topspin spun much more. But now, they attack with much weaker spin. It's now easier and more comfortable to defend with lobs and half-height lobs against these balls. And at the amateur level, it has become harder to beat defenders who use these techniques. So, if you want to make life harder for attacking players, find a hall with a high ceiling and learn to perform lobs. I'm sure it will be more fun for both you and your opponents. And if you need a rubber or a blade, feel free to visit our store TT Maximum. You will leave with a high-quality racket. And if you haven't decided which one you need yet, feel free to ask us. We will help you choose the one that best suits your tastes and playing style.